Kyle Shanahan has spoken, and he wants competition. Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Let's first mention Pig and a Pickle. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both locations from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, Kyle Shanahan sat down with Steve Wyche, talked a little bit about the season ahead, training camp on the verge of starting. In the NFL Network, Steve Wyche sat down with the 49er head coach, and Shanahan said, hey, we got 3 guys who can play. And he's basically thrown that out, that it's going to be an open competition. He's not going to name a starting quarterback, and bring it on. Trey Lance and Sam Darnold will get most of the quarterback practice reps once players hit the field. Brock Purdy, who was an absolute revelation last year, is still coming back from offseason surgery to repair his right elbow, where he had a torn ulnar collateral ligament. And the team is hopeful that he'll be able to return to the practice field sometime before the end of training camp. But it's pretty clear that the Niners are going into this year with the idea, you know what? We're going to have an open competition. And with training camp, that's really the rule of thumb, really for a number of positions on the roster. And competition is a really, really good thing. Let's hear first what Shanahan said to the NFL Network, Steve Wyche.
This is going to be a must-see training camp because it seems like every day you got 3 guys with something to prove behind center.
I mean, we got 3 guys who can play, and there's only 1 spot. And we have a good team. So I see it as a cool situation. And last year we had some unknown. We believed in Trey, but he hadn't gone out and done it yet. So, right. But we believed in him. We got to see him for a year and a half and what he could do. And he lost that opportunity, which happens in football. And we had another guy come in, very similar to Trey, but less reps and stuff. And Brock got that opportunity. So now we're in this situation, and it's just, I get how everyone wants something set in stone, but it's not set in stone. But I love the options, and I love the experience that Brock got. I love that Trey has gotten some too, and I love the ability that we have in the room. And besides those 3, I love our team around them. So let's let it play out, and all I got to do is survive the press conference.
So there you go. Shanahan saying, hey, we got 3 guys who can play, and there's only 1 spot, and we have a good team. So I see it as a cool situation. And last year we had some unknown, and then he said, hey, we believed in Trey, but he hadn't gone out and done it yet, but we believed in him. We got to see him for a year and a half and what he could do. And then he lost the opportunity, which happens in football. And basically Shanahan's just saying, you know what? I've got Brock Purdy, and I don't know about his future as far as his health. Does he come back right away? Does it take him a while? Nobody really knows the situation. It could take him a while. It could not. We'll have to see how it goes. Then you got Trey Lance, and he's a developing player. His quarterback coach, Jeff Christensen, has basically promised that Trey's going to look a whole lot better this year in training camp than he did last year. So that's a positive. And then you've got Sam Darnold, a player that clearly Kyle Shanahan has coveted for a number of years, and Darnold's 25. And he steps into the best situation of his career. What you also have are 3 guys who are really, really passionate about winning that starting job. Purdy's out there to show that, last year was not a fluke, and that his reign as the starting quarterback is sustainable, and the way he plays the position is sustainable, and that he can continue to improve and get better from what was already an outstanding rookie year. So Purdy's out to show that, all these people that are saying that his first year was lucky and it's not sustainable, he's out to show that that's not the case. Trey Lance had 1 year, thrown away because of a redshirt year. He lost another full year to injury when he went down with an ankle injury. And now here he is in year 3, fresh off of working with Jeff Christensen. Lance is absolutely passionate about showing that he's worthy of being the 3rd pick overall in the NFL draft just a couple of years ago. So he's out to try to save his career. And let's be honest, Sam Darnold was not good with the New York Jets. He was only marginally better with the Carolina Panthers, but he's 25. And now he's on a team where you've got, a really good play caller and all kinds of weapons. Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, Kyle Juszczyk, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, Danny Gray. He's got weapons. He's got weapons. He's also got a defense that's one of the best in football. It was number one and added Javon Hargrave from their number one status a year ago. So you got an outstanding defense. You got a real strong running game. You've got a bevy of weapons. And Darnold is looking at this year as the year that salvages his NFL career. He was the third pick overall 5 years ago, and he's out to show that he's an NFL quarterback. And let's be totally frank about this. If Sam Darnold fails here in San Francisco, his run as a starting quarterback probably comes to an end. So this might be Sam Darnold's last and best chance to show that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. And then you've got Brock Purdy, who's trying to show that, last year was not a fluke. And you got Trey Lance, who's trying to show that, I'm a pretty good player in my own right. And, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to make sure that I do it here in San Francisco. Now, I saw this stat this week. Since 2016, 7 of the 24 quarterbacks taken in the first round of the NFL draft have found new homes, and 2 of them are no longer even in the league. So, this is a kind of a disturbing trend that first-round quarterbacks, for whatever reason, don't necessarily make it, and a number of them move on to other spots around the league and find a way to make it after they've moved on. Hopefully that's not going to be the case with Trey Lance. Hopefully the 49ers will, he'll start to play really well this year in the preseason and establish himself as the clear either number 1 or number 2. But just listening to Kyle Shanahan, it's pretty clear. And this is the right thing for him to do. You don't anoint anybody the starter. You've already told everybody, you have and John has and Jed has, that Brock's your number 1 guy. But Brock's physical status is up in the air. So you don't name a starting quarterback. You play it as it goes, and you have a competition. Because if you look at the rest of this roster, there's going to be a competition at running back. There's going to be a whale of a competition for the backup spots at offense at tight end. There's going to be a heated competition for the back end of the wide receiver core. The backup offensive linemen. There's 6 or 7 candidates for 3 or 4 jobs. The defensive line has incredible competition. The Niner linebackers might be the deepest in the entire NFL, and there's 7 or 8 guys there, and probably only maximum of 6 can make the roster. So the linebacker competition is going to be intense. The corner competition with 7 or 8 NFL caliber corners, and then probably going with 5 or 6. That's going to be intense. So there's competition all throughout this roster, and it makes perfect sense that he would start this year and say, you know what, I'm not naming Brock Purdy my starter. Maybe Trey Lance comes out, and after an offseason working with Jeff Christensen, maybe he looks awesome. Maybe Sam Darnold at 25 is suddenly going to fulfill the massive potential that the Jets saw in him when they drafted him 3rd overall. We don't know exactly who's going to step up and who's not. We don't know if Darnold is going to be an elite guy, or if Lance is going to show that he's made incredible growth, or if Purdy's going to take over right where he finished last year and not miss a beat with the elbow injury and show that he's going to be a star NFL quarterback. The Niners are in a very good position. They've got 3 really, good young prospects that any one of them could seize the opportunity and walk through that door and become the starter here. And so, yeah, are you leaning towards Brock as the one? Sure. Does Trey maybe have a little bit of an edge as far as time in the offense on Darnold and Purdy? Yeah, he does have a little bit of an advantage, but doesn't mean that Darnold's passionate about saving his career. Trey's passionate about establishing himself as a starter. Brock's passionate about showing everybody that last year was not a fluke. And so if you're the 49ers, Shanahan seems real eager to just, hey, we're going to roll the football out there and we're going to have a good old-fashioned competition. And I think that is going to resonate with the rest of the roster, because that's what training camp is around the NFL for the most part. It's you know what? Very few guys have things handed to them. Everybody's battling and competing for their livelihood, and why should it be any different at the quarterback spot? So I think we all know that if everybody, if Brock is healthy and playing well, he's going to get that first opportunity. But that's a big if, because we don't know what he's going to look like, and we don't know how that elbow is going to heal, and how much arm strength he's going to have. And then what is Trey Lance going to look like after working with Jeff Christensen? And what is Sam Darnold going to look like when you surround him with great weapons and you put give some urgency to maybe the final opportunity that he has to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? So I think Shanahan's smart to go with this. Hey, you know what? We're going to have a good old-fashioned competition, and we'll see what happens this summer. And what does it make it? It makes the 49er camp probably the most interesting camp in the entire NFL. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.